Breaking news earlier this hour, we told you Kellyanne Conway will join the Trump administration in a new role called Counselor to the President. Trump saying in the press release, quote, "I am pleased that she will be part of my senior team in the West Wing." Joining me right now is incoming Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne, good to see you.
Thank you, Maria.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much.
Have you been working on this a long time? Because I know for a little while you weren't sure if you were going to go into the West Wing or you were going to operate helping Donald Trump on the outside.
I've had a series of conversations with the President-elect and the Vice President-elect and the senior team, Maria, just to figure out what my best and highest use was. And I think that outside political superstructure group is incredibly important to help the President and pushing through his legislative agenda and his cabinet nominees, ultimately his Supreme Court nominees. But at the same time, it's very humbling to be asked by the President to continue to serve in a senior role. And it's also important to me as to who the rest of the senior team is. And I'm familiar with them. I'm there to support them and the great work they've done in the transition. And I look very much forward to serving.
So you turned down the press secretary job, right?
I did.
And so why was this attractive to you after turning down press secretary?
It's a great question. This will be a different portfolio than that would be, and we're going to have a fabulous press secretary to be announced soon. I will be working with that individual very closely through the overall communications from the White House. But at the same time, I have experience doing other things as well on Capitol Hill and certainly with communications. So we'll see what the portfolio includes. Also, data and strategy, just for the last 21 years in my own company with companies and nonprofits and certainly political leaders.
Can you compare this to like the role that Valerie Jarrett played for President Obama? Is that similar?
It seems very similar
Yeah.
to Valerie Jarrett's role. Karen Hughes was counselor to the President, Ed Meese to Ronald Reagan, but I'm not comparing myself to any three of them. They did amazing jobs for their presidents.
Well, you did a pretty amazing job as well.
Well, thank you, but I can only aspire to be like any of the three of them and the way they've served their respective presidents. Valerie Jarrett is someone who has reached out to me several times in recent weeks, including 2 days ago. We had a lengthy conversation while she's on vacation, so I very much appreciated that. And she's inviting me into the West Wing in early January just to look around and talk to people there. And I told the President-elect about that. We're all very grateful for the way the President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama and frankly their senior advisors have embraced all of us. It's important to speak to the people, the very few people relatively in this country who have been there.
This is going to be a big change. You're going to move the family to Washington?
We are in due time, and I want this to be as least disruptive to my children as possible, which is always the main consideration for me. But I know it'll also be a family-friendly White House. I know Donald Trump very well. I've seen him with his children and his grandchildren, certainly with his 10-year-old son and his wife. And this is a family guy, and he understands and really respects the fact that I have a family as well. I respect the fact that I have a job to do with long hours and many responsibilities. But like every other woman out there, this is not new. People juggle these responsibilities every single day, and I admire those who do it.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking with Juan Williams earlier, and he was questioning, well, Kellyanne has 4 kids. How's she going to do it? He got creamed on Twitter. Everybody on Twitter was saying, why? A woman with 4 kids can't do it, and a man can't? So what, that she's going to be working 24/7?
Well, I would just say to everyone, not Juan, because I don't want him to be creamed, but I would say that I don't play golf, and I don't have a mistress. So I have a lot of time that a lot of these other men don't. I see people on the weekend, they spend an awful lot of time with their golf games, and that's their right. But the kids they'll be with me. We live in the same house, and they come first. But everybody has to do what's best for their family, and it's why I didn't jump immediately, Maria, on a position that was offered to me early in the transition, because there's a lot to weigh, and my children are 12, 8, and 7. But I certainly hope, too, that we can continue the conversation as a nation about the balance that many men and women face. And I respect the stay-at-home moms, I respect the working moms, and I think that having that open conversation has been very healthy.
It's going to be a really rich life. I mean, you are going to have so many fantastic situations to think about and grow and get involved with the President, so congratulations.
Rich in experience, Maria.
That's what I mean.
Rich life definitely would have been staying outside. I was staring at a gold mine, and I reverted my gaze.
Well, that's what I said. I said this has to be a pay cut if she goes to Washington, by the way. I said that the other day.
That's
so yeah, rich in experience is what I meant. Can you give us a sense of where things stand on the other cabinet positions? I know that Toby Cosgrove in the running for the VA?
Yes, had a great meeting with Cosgrove this week, according to the President-elect. Very impressed with a very long short list for both of the remaining positions, Secretary of Agriculture and the Veterans Administration, of course, Director.